And welcome to another live session on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And this is live session number 142. And tonight, I'm going to talk about the common questions about the validation process, the engineering qualification validation process, and also I'll explain a little bit about my online mentoring program that I opened the enrollments today. And but first, for those that don't know me, my name is Gerson Ida. I'm the founder of the website www.engineersinaustralia.com, a website that I created back in 2019 already to share content of value and useful information in your journey to validate your engineering qualification in Australia. And I also share information about other things related to engineering, like, for example, how to get your first job as an engineer in Australia, workplace health and safety, environmental management, and other engineering subjects as well. And I'm planning for this year to do a few things differently. Apart from talking about engineering qualification and the normal things that I talk about, I'm thinking about other subjects that will help your journey to become an engineer and to get a job as an engineer here in Australia. So yeah, I'm still planning, still thinking, and if you have suggestions, I'm more than happy to get your suggestions as well. Because, you know, my live sessions is for you. If I know what you want to hear, obviously, then my content will be more relevant to you as well. So tonight, I'm going to talk about those common questions. And if you have questions, please send in the comments and I will answer those as well. And where do I get those questions? I got the questions from the SurveyMonkey, those people that they filled out the SurveyMonkey during the workshop, and at least the top questions or the 3 questions, I get those ones, and then I can, we're actually going to open up here so I know. And then I can answer those questions here in the live session. So we'll start with some of the questions that I received. This question is from a petroleum engineer. And the question is, do I require experience to do my CDR? CDR stands for Competency Demonstration Report. And the answer is yes, you do require engineering experience. So without experience, engineering experience, you cannot validate your qualification. Oh yeah, Gerson, but you said that graduates can validate the qualification. Yes, graduates, they can. Pay attention that I said that you need engineering experience. I didn't say that you need work experience. Engineering experience can be also academic engineering experience. So if you don't have work experience, that's fine. You can still validate your qualification using your academic engineering experience. And I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about this a little bit later on. The other question is, what can I present in the primary and secondary documents? I'm just going to expand. What can I present in the primary and secondary documents? I can't read. Oh, yeah. What can I present in the primary and secondary documents if I don't have experience? Well, that's a different thing. I'm just going to explain that there are 2 types of validation with Engineers Australia. One type is the validation of your qualification. So you apply for your qualification validation, and so Engineers Australia will assess and they will then recognize or not if your qualification is equivalent to an Australian bachelor degree in engineering. The other type of validation is the validation of your work experience. And that is a separate process. It's called RSEA, the Relevant Skilled Employment Assessment. This is more for like migration purposes, because why would you need to validate your work experience? I'm not a migration agent, so I can't really give you migration advice, but I know that the more experience you have, you can then get more points, and the more points you have, more chances you have to be invited by the Department of Home Affairs for your visa. So if you don't have work experience, then obviously you can't really present primary and secondary documents, because primary documents are your employer reference letter, and secondary documents is your tax return, your employment contract, your social security statements, your superannuation statements, and so on. So if you don't have work experience, it's going to be really, really difficult, almost impossible, to present your primary and secondary documents. Can the 3 reports be based in university studies only? Yes, it can. You can use just your academic engineering experience, and then have a look from your academic experience, which experience will match the ANZ SEO occupation definition. So it's very important that even if you use your academic experience, it needs to match the ANZ SEO occupation definition. The other one in YouTube, Richard. Hi Jason, when can we access the content of the mentoring program if already paid? Yeah, thank you very much, Richard. I saw your registration. Thank you very much for your trust in my mentoring program. You can access straight away. So what you need to do, you just go to, I think I just sent you an email explaining how you can access the portal. And then you just go to validationformula.com. There is a login, and then the username and the password that you use to purchase the mentoring program, you use in there. And once you use there, there's a button, access or view the mentoring program. I'm going to actually show here how you can do it. I'm just going to get that ready. Where is that? So that's the one there. So I'll open up a new tab. So for those that are my students or just purchased now, you just need to go to the website, validationformula.com. And once it opens up, you will need to use your username and your password. It's a bit slow, yeah. So here you will see that on the top corner there's a login. And then once you put your login there, I'll put my login and my password there. And then login. I think I am using the right password, hopefully. So once you use the login and password, you will see that you will be there, and then you go to view mentoring program, and from here you can start watching all the content. So, and as a student, you need to finish each module to go to the next one. So this is a type of course that is sequential. It's not good if you skip.
Hello and welcome to the validation form.
It's not good if you skip classes. So you need to go to the first one, and then once you watch all the videos, and here in this first one is navigating the VF mentoring portal. I explain everything about the portal, and once you watch all the videos, and then you just click complete, because I clicked already, so I can't click anymore, but you can click on complete, and then it will go to the next module. And then once you watch the next module, you click complete, it goes to the next module, and so on. Even for the bonuses and downloads, you need to go through each one of those to have a look and click as complete as well. Even if you don't download, let's say the ebooks, you go to the cover letter ebook, for example, and once it opens up, it says here in progress, and then you gotta go there, mark as complete, and then once you mark as complete, even if you don't download, in this case it's not a problem. It goes there, it went to the professional interview, and then you mark as complete. Every time that you mark as complete, it keeps going to the next module. So you just need to go from bonuses and downloads to module 1. You need to tick all of those ones, marking as complete. All right. I'll just go back there. And if you're having any problems, Richard, yeah, just send me a message and I'll help you out. All right. The other question that I received, let's have a look here. Yeah, I get a lot of this question. How do I start the process to migrate to Australia? As I said before, I'm not a registered migration agent, so I can't really give you migration advice. But there's a lot of people that they help you out with the planning, even before to talk with the migration agent. As you guys probably saw, Thursday this week, I've interviewed Marcia Percival, and she is very good in helping people to plan the journey to Australia. So I encourage you guys to follow her on Instagram. Her profile is at Marcia Percival, and she'll help you out. She's got lots of videos, and I'm pretty sure that she can help you to plan your journey properly to Australia, so you don't really waste your time, you don't waste money, and you don't waste frustration. The other question is, I want to migrate to Australia with my family. What is required? Again, I don't know, because I'm not a migration agent, but you can talk to a migration agent, or you can catch up with Marcia, and she certainly can help you with that. How much are the salaries for a civil engineer? So that's a question from somebody from Brazil, a civil engineer. And if you are talking about a graduate position, let's say a graduate engineer, salaries obviously will vary depending on the industry. Some industries, they pay a little bit more. Other industries, because of competition, they pay a little bit less. But in average, an engineer that graduates from university and starts in the industry will probably get between $55,000 and $60,000 Australian dollars for the year as annual salary. On top of that, then obviously companies, they pay superannuation about 9%, and sometimes there are some other perks like a vehicle or a mobile phone or other benefits as well. But in average, as a graduate engineer, civil engineer, you'll be between 55, 60. If you are then with 4 or 5 years of experience already, then you're probably going to get between 70 to 80,000. And then if you are a senior engineer, then it's when you start going to 6 figures, more than $100,000. And obviously, the more experience you have, or depending on the industry, you get your bonuses as well. You can go 150, 200, $250,000 depending on the industry and depending on your position as well. The other question here, let's just trying to filter some of the questions. Yeah, that's a very good question, this one. How long does the process usually takes? And the answer is depends. Depends what the process that you're talking about. The validation process, once you submit your application to Engineers Australia, normally, now it's taking, because of COVID and everything else, it's taking between 10 and 16 weeks. So it can take quite some time. So if you got to plan very well, if you have a very tight time frame, you may need to apply for fast track. Fast track is a process with Engineers Australia where you pay about $350, I think, and then Engineers Australia will allocate an assessor much quicker, and your assessment may come back between 4 and 6 weeks. So, but that is after you submit your application. The other process, obviously, is when you start your validation process and then until you finalize, ready to be submitted. And that will depend on how much time you're going to put every day, every week, every month. But if you dedicate perhaps 4 hours, 5 hours a week, it doesn't look like a lot, but 5 hours a week, I can guarantee to you that in about month and a half or 2 months, you will finish everything. It can be done. You need to just be focused and be disciplined. Obviously, 5 hours in 1 week, and then the other week you don't do anything. And then you take another week and do 4 or 5 hours. And then the other week you don't do anything. You need to be consistent as well. Because once you get, let's say, you do 2 hours today, 1 hour the day after tomorrow, and another 2 hours in 4 or 5 days. Your brain gets to a rhythm to start writing, to remembering things, etc. If you leave a gap for a week or two, once you resume your application and your writing, you're probably going to be forgetting few things and have to go back, have to reread, and the brain is not going to be used to the writing already. So it's better to be more consistent, maybe not dedicate a lot of time. Because what I keep saying, especially to my students, is that I don't live to write like 8 hours in one day. Say, all right, today I'm going to write 8 hours. It's not a good idea, because in the beginning, you will have probably very good quality writing. As time passes by, your brain is going to get tired, and the quality of your writing will probably decrease. So that will mean that you will have a report with good quality in certain aspects and probably not so good quality in other aspects. And that is not good. It's better to be more consistent. So don't write don't dedicate too much per day, or grab the weekend and this weekend I will write a whole career episode. It's probably not a good idea because it requires a lot of thinking, it requires a lot of planning, and your brain will probably get very, very tired. The other question there. Yeah, that's a very common question. I am 40 years old. I'm married with 2 daughters. Do I have a chance to migrate as a civil engineer? Again, I'm not a migration agent, but from what I know is that, and I know because I was watching an interview with Carlo Castriota, a migration agent, and he was saying that there's a limit for most of the visas, permanent visas, there's a limit of 44 years old. So when you complete 45, then you're not eligible anymore. So gotta be 44 or 44, almost 45, that's the limit. So if you are 40 years old, you still have chances. It means that you have between now and the next 4 years, you need to improve your English, you need to validate your qualification, apply for a visa, wait, I don't know how long it's taking, obviously get all the points that you need, and yeah, and then wait until you get invited. It can take some time. It can take some time. I don't know how long, but if you are 40 years old already, I strongly encourage you to start now, because you cannot wait, because it will take some time depending on your English. If your English is not good or not good enough, it can take a year or two until you get your English to a level that you can have the minimum score to validate your qualification. All right. There are some questions here in YouTube. Richard is asking, is IELTS or English test still a requirement for permanent residents lived here for 4 years? Yeah, that's a good question, Richard. I don't know. Yeah, not quite sure. It is a requirement for the validation process, but yeah, I think your question is for the validation process. And the answer is yes. If the question is for validation purposes, yes. There are some exemptions in the English test, but if you've done a master's degree, or if you've done a PhD, if you've done a bachelor degree here in English, then you are pretty much exempt. Or if you did your studies in the US or Canada, UK, I think, you are then exempt of the English test. But even if you are a permanent resident living here for 4 years, you still need to provide your IELTS or TOEFL or PTE test. The other question from Ramildo Passos. Hi, Gerson. I graduated in forestry engineering. I couldn't find it on the EA list. What happens in this case? Yeah, thanks, Ramildo. Very good question. And very common question. It's not just about forestry engineering. There are other types of engineering that there is no specific code. I'll show you here. I think I'll let me just get this one. So what you can do, Ramildo, you go to ANZ SEO. You just Google engineer, ANZ SEO engineer. You get that to this. It's very important to go from the official website from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. So that's ANZ SEO, Australian New Zealand Standard Classification of Occupation, Engineering Professionals. You will see that your category will be under this one. And you will need to apply under the Engineering Professionals NEC, which is not elsewhere classified. Engineering Professionals not elsewhere classified. This occupation group covers engineer professionals not elsewhere classified. Registration or licensing may be required. Occupation in this group include mechatronics engineer, product design engineer, and any other engineer that's not listed in the occupation list. I don't believe that a forestry engineer is equivalent to agricultural, so that will probably be in the engineering professionals not elsewhere classified. All right. The other question here in YouTube: does grammar affect the decision of Engineers Australia on the CDR? Yeah, thanks, Richard, for the question. Yeah, grammar does affect a little bit, and that's another thing that you got to be careful, because let's say that you do your IELTS test, and then you get a 6 in all of the bands: writing, reading, speaking, and listening. So you get 6 in all of the 4 bands, and with a 6 in IELTS, the assessor will obviously be expecting a good English, may not be a perfect English, may not be a native English. So you need to be consistent with your test. If you ended up presenting a report that is perfect, with a very good grammar, no mistakes, very well written, and your IELTS test was 6, so it can raise some suspicion that somebody else potentially wrote on your behalf. Because if you have an English 6, how come your writing could be equivalent to an 8 or a 9? So just got to be careful with that. And opposite is the same. If you present an IELTS like 8, and if your grammar is very poor, that could also raise some suspicion, because if you have an IELTS like 8, it is expected that your English and your grammar will be equivalent to that score as well. All right, I'll check other questions. I think there's a question on Instagram. Yeah, there's a question here on Instagram. Entity paradigm. Yeah, videos are very informative. Thank you very much. And the question is, my bachelor is in computer engineering. I have over 6 years experience in industrial engineering. Is it possible to validate my skill as industrial engineer in Australia? Yeah, that's a good question. Computer engineering usually is with the ACS, the Australian Computer Science. But if you're not validating as computer engineer, you're trying to validate as industrial engineer, and your experience in industrial engineering. If your experience in industrial engineering is matching with the ANZ SEO occupation definition, and I don't know the curriculum between computer engineering and industrial engineering. Perhaps the what they call the core subjects, they could be the same, and then some of the electives could be different. If that is the case, perhaps Engineers Australia may validate you as industrial engineering because you've got the core subjects like the engineering subjects, and then your experience, especially your industrial engineering experience at work, you can then use those experiences in your career episodes, and Engineers Australia may recognize as being close related. It happens sometimes with, I've got a student that he's graduated as telecommunications engineer and he was validated as electronics engineer. So it can happen sometimes that Engineers Australia can validate, give you a validation of a different type of engineer of your graduation. All right. The other question that I got here, this question from an environmental engineer: for international applicants, by getting the qualification validated, does that mean one is also getting the work visa? Yeah, very good question. And the answer is no. You need to remember that the validation, the qualification validation, is done by Engineers Australia. Work visa is done by the Department of Home Affairs. So once you get your qualification validated, you may be eligible for some work visa, but that's a separate process. Obviously, you need to consult an agent and then apply for a specific work visa. If that work visa requires your qualification to be validated, obviously, if you validate your qualification, then you become eligible to apply for that visa. But it is not automatic. Once you validate your qualification, it does not automatically give you a work visa. There are two separate processes. The other question is, if Engineers Australia doesn't validate my process, can I try again? The short answer is yes, you can try again. It will depend on why Engineers Australia didn't approve your application. Sometimes Engineers Australia does not approve your application because the experiences that you utilized, they are not equivalent to the category that you applied for. For example, you applied for professional engineer and the experience is not to that level. Or you applied to be validated as, let's say, industrial engineer, and your experience is not equivalent to industrial engineer according to ANZ SEO occupation definition. So they can reject your application, and then obviously you're not approved. But you can apply again. You can, before applying again, you can, if you don't agree with that outcome, you can do the revision process, either the informal process first or the appeal, the formal appeal later. But if you don't want to do that, you just want to reapply, you can. You don't need to wait time. Obviously, if Engineers Australia didn't like your experiences, saying that the career episode that you wrote does not meet the criteria for, let's say, industrial engineer, professional industrial engineer, you will need to use different experiences. There's no point to use the same experience and just resubmit your application. You need to change your experience, or you need to write in the way that it addresses all the 16 competencies. But if you are not, if Engineers Australia didn't validate your qualification because they caught you by plagiarism, one, you will probably get a ban. It can be up to 36 months or 3 years. So let's say that you got caught by plagiarism, and then Engineers Australia ban you for 3 years. So it means that you can just reapply. You can reapply, but you need to wait that banning period. And obviously, if you used a CDR writer or if you copied from somebody else, after 3 years, please don't do that again, because you could be caught again and could be banned for another period. All right, I'm just conscious of time. The other question from in Instagram, yeah, Entity Paradigm. Sorry, I don't know your name. I just can read the profile. Can I get assessed as industrial engineer? I am still working as industrial engineer and employer is ready to sponsor. Just confused about the assessment. Well, if your experience as industrial engineer is matching the ANZ SEO occupation definition, and if your computer engineering disciplines, somehow you've got the core subjects that can justify the technical competencies, you can try, especially if your company is willing to sponsor you. You will need to try. There's not a definite answer because it will depend on the assessor from Engineers Australia. What you can do is you can send an email to Engineers Australia and just ask them, I graduated in computer engineering, but in the last 6 years I am working as industrial engineer. Would Engineers Australia assess my competencies and skills as industrial engineer as I have graduated as computer engineer? Send them the question and see what they say. Perhaps they'll reply to you saying, yes, please submit your CDR process, or they may say, no, you graduated in computer engineering and we don't do this assessment. So there's no harm to ask them. Engineers Australia is very good in replying the emails. So I encourage you guys to write and ask if you have questions. All right. So I'll probably have more question and answers on Tuesday and Thursday during my Instagram live session. This coming Tuesday and this coming Thursday, 8:30 p.m. I'm going to have the Instagram live session. And now I'm going to quickly explain to you guys my mentoring program that I opened the enrollments today. So this is if you want to have a look and learn more about my online mentoring program, you can go to my website, and I'm going to copy and paste the website and you can have a look. There are 2 videos there. One video is in Portuguese. Another video is in English. So sorry, there's some people that they speak Spanish, but I don't really speak Spanish. So paste it in Facebook, and I'm going to paste in Instagram as well. So that's the link that you can just check it out and see how it works. In those videos, I explain everything about the mentoring, what's the investment, the bonuses, and the investment that you're going to do, the warranty. On the web page, and I developed this web page. Sorry if it's not too flash, but I developed myself. And I explain about the 9 exclusive bonuses. I'm including all of these 9 bonuses in the program. Altogether, they valued at $1,800, but you will get all of those bonuses for free when you join my mentoring program. The question and answer sessions, the VIP group in Telegram, it's where the group mentoring happens. My students, they ask questions there, and then I answer those questions in the group. And then the 3 ebooks to help you to get a job as an engineer. So 7 tips for curriculum vitae, 7 tips for cover letter, and 7 tips for professional interview. This bonus here is one of the most important bonus. 13 pages of comments and feedback that I provided to my students. If you are my student, obviously, and read all these comments and feedback, and don't do the same mistakes, your report will be pretty good. The action plan using 5 W2 pages, the catch-up session with my validation formula students. Those catch-up sessions, I do 90 minutes of catch-up sessions, and my students, they can ask questions about the course. They can ask questions about the work that they're doing. And planning 2, the career episodes planning and summary statement assistant. And also, this is a career episode experiences planning. It's an Excel spreadsheet that I help you to organize your thinking. And here you can list all your experiences, and then answering those questions, it will help you to prioritize which experience could be a good one for you to write your career episodes. And also you have 30 days warranty. In 30 days, if you're not happy with the mentoring program, the content, the classes, you can send me an email saying that you didn't get any value with it, and you send me a copy of your CDR application or the documents, so at least I know that at least you tried, and then I will return 100% of your money if you paid. And here there are some testimony videos from my students that they were validated. So civil engineer Leila, environmental engineer Walter, and Erica, civil engineer as well. And if you have any question, you can actually, in the corner here, you can ask me a question. You can send me a message, and if I am online, I will answer those ones. If not, it will come in my email, and then I'll reply to your email. But if you're happy with that and want to proceed with the purchase, once you click on the button there, it will open up the page. It takes a little while. I'm not sure why it takes so long. And then I think I'll just log out. And then once you go to here, you see that that's the webinar offer. So from $1,497, we'll go back there again. From $1,497, with the webinar offer, it's you can be part of the program with just $697, $800 discount. And you get the program, and you get all the classes, and all those 9 bonuses as well. and you have access for 1 year. So for 12 months, you have access to my program, and then that's a card. Then you can check if everything is all right, and that's it, $697. And this is just until tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. The webinar offer is just until Monday, 11:59 p.m. After that, it's going to be $600 discount. You can still be part of the validation formula program. For the first 20 students, it's going to be $897. And then you proceed to checkout. And then in the checkout, it's where you will have to include your name, address, email address, and important that your username, you will create your username and your password here so you can access the validation formula portal. And you can pay as direct bank transfer in PayPal or PayPal. You probably need to log into your PayPal account or credit card. Now that we've got the webinar offer, you cannot pay in installments. But after Monday, on Tuesday, from Tuesday onwards, there will be an option here for you to pay in 3 installments with what do you call? Partially. Partially is a sister company from Stripe, and then they split. You can do some payment plans, but there's a fee of $50, so you will be paying $897 plus $50. The $50 fee, you pay the first deposit, and then the other 2 installments after 30 days and 60 days. And then you place order. Once you place your order, it will take some time until the credit card process, etc., etc. And then I'll get a notification that everything went all right, and you will receive an email confirming your enrollment, and with a link to a video for you to access, how to access and how to change the password if you need in the validation formula portal. And the portal, as I showed you a little bit before, it's just a validationformula.com. That is the name of my mentoring program. And here you can see, well, the normal price is $1,497, but now you've got the discount. All the catch-up sessions, they are also here in the portal, so it's exclusive to VF students. All those catch-up sessions, you can watch the replay anytime you want as well. A little bit about me there. And then some testimonies from my students. All right. Just conscious of time. So, any other question there? Or just check Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Richard asked, can they downgrade the application from registered engineer to engineering technologist? It's not actually registered engineer, it's professional engineer. So the category is professional engineer, engineering technologist, and engineering associate. Can they downgrade from professional engineer? Let's say that you apply for professional engineer, and your experiences or the way that you write your career episode does not match the category level of professional engineer. I've seen already engineers that they were offered by Engineers Australia the option. If you want to be validated as a professional engineer, you need to rewrite your career episode. But however, if you don't want to rewrite your career episode, we will be assessing you as engineering technologist or engineering associate. So it can happen, and it has happened already with few people that they contacted me. Some of them, they were happy to accept engineering technologists because for their migration process didn't really matter. So they ended up accepting the result as engineering technologists. But for others, they had to rewrite their career episodes. With my students, all of them, they were approved in the category that they applied for. So if they applied for professional engineer category, they were approved as professional engineers. If they applied for engineering associate, they've been approved as engineering associates. But Engineers Australia can downgrade from professional engineer to engineering technologist if the content is not matching that level there. But you'll see, Richard, in the mentoring program, I've got a specific module that talks about the terminologies that you need to use to categorize as a professional engineer. Because a lot of things sometimes is about limitation in English. Because you don't know the language, if you don't know the language very well and the technical terminology, when you are describing an engineering activity, you may not use the right terminology. And then, not using the right terminology, the assessor will think that you're not at that level. So you'll see that one of the modules is about terminologies that needs to be used for professional engineers, and I've got another one, terminologies for engineering associates. All right, I'll check Facebook. No comments in Facebook, no questions there, and no questions more in Instagram, I think. And no more questions in YouTube. All right, so if there's no more questions, I would like to thank you guys very much. And remembering, you can go to www.validationmentoring.com and watch the videos there where I explain everything about the mentoring program. And don't forget that tomorrow, Monday, 11:59 p.m. Brisbane time, the special webinar offer will end. And you're going to lose the $800 discount. You're just going to get $600 discount. All right. So thank you very much, guys. And I hope to see you in my mentoring program. Thank you and bye-bye.